Sure enough, about 2.5 weeks, one of the boats got shot up real bad, and the ONC got medevac to Japan. So they said, "You got a boat now. You got a boat, and you get his crew." Unfortunately, nobody in his crew was killed or hurt. So I inherited that boat and that crew, which was really a blessing in disguise because they'd been there since about March. Okay, and I'd gotten there in June, so they'd had a little experience in their travels, etc. So they saved me a lot of grief, and they knew a lot that I didn't know. And so in a way, that was really a blessing, because if I would have had my original crew, we would have all been in pretty much equal in the same boat. So, so what they were doing there is they were patrolling some areas around Vung Tau there in the ocean, or in the sea. And then they were sending 4 boats down to the LST, which was running up and down the coast of South Vietnam, below Vung Tau, all the way down to the Kamau Peninsula. Had 4 patrol zones down there. They sent 4 boats and 8 crews. Okay, and of course one guy, it was his boat, he signed for the boat. Okay, and then the other guy was like the replacement team. And what it allowed them to do is they'd send the 4 boats out each day. They'd go at a different time. The LST would come down the coast, pick up the boat, you'd rearm, refuel, they'd come aboard, the other crew would go aboard, and that allowed those 4 boats to run 24 hours a day for 30 days. Boats went around the clock. You just changed the crews out. So you had 4 crews on the LST at one time and 4 out in their respective, and then they'd rotate the patrol areas. And it was basically off the coast to prevent infiltration of weapons and that type of stuff. Check the people in the boats from smuggling anything from weapons to rice, and keeping an eye on everything. We were off the coast, probably patrol. It had a big box. Further out was the Coast Guard, So I'd been there. I was the second crew. It was really Ross Matosky's boat, and I inherited this crew, and we were out. And this is my first time to the LST. Okay. And so we're out and we're patrolling in the morning, and we're kind of driving along the coast. This is my first experience. And we're at GQ, we're on, we got our flak panties on. I mean, it's, serious stuff. And we're watching the jungle and the river mouths and, everything, and I'm sitting there with the binocs. And then it was tiring, but it gave us something to do. And then we'd rotate. So the guy driving, my bosun, who's sitting here, I said, "Okay, boats, I'm going to drive for a while. Now you go back by the after gun, and we'd rotate everybody around, because, you do that all day long." And we're driving along, 8-9 knots, just going down the coast, just not looking to seaward, just looking inland at the rivers and all this type of stuff. And we're driving along, and all of a sudden I see these little white lips in the water. And I said, I thought it was kind of like some kind of small fish. And then I hear my gunner, whose feet are behind my head, and he's up there in the tub. He says, "They're shooting at us," And I looked, and then I looked more to the right, and you could see colors coming from the muzzle blasts. Okay. And so I was driving, and it was just a reaction. I didn't think about this. Normally, people said, "What did you do?" Well, normally you'd say, "Well, they're shooting at me. That's seaward. They're there. I take a left, I go that way." Why to this day, I don't know. I took that wheel, turned it to the right, and I drove straight at it. Drove right towards the beach, and Fred's up there, and he's just letting go with the 50s. And all Fred says, all I heard was, "You son of a bitches." Why? I don't know. Headed in, and I'm a new guy down there. I'm one of the new guys down there. We went in, and then I swung around, because I was getting pretty close to the beach. And as we swung around, my engineman, who was aft, he's the after loader back there, next to the 50, and he's there if they're going to use the mortar. He got stitched with a machine gun, and he got one in the right bicep, right here, and right there. And he was bleeding like a stuck pig. Well, I cleared the area, we called the LST, and we said, we're coming out. And And we got out, and they, you know, pulled alongside, came down. We had tourniquets on his arms to stop the bleeding, and got out there. The corpsman came down. They called in a medevac, and my injury was Cogdill. He got medevaced, and he went to Japan. We never saw him again, you know. And that was my first firefight, you know. And everybody said, why did you turn? I don't know why I turned towards him. The simplest way is to leave, but I didn't. Yeah, okay. And I'm a new guy.